All right, so we are just moments away from closing this tutorial series. You have done a great job so far if you followed along and created this. So in this section, what we are going to do is we're going to create the entire workflow that I have demoed in the first lecture. So let's go and do that. We found out that this response that we're sending back to um, Postman, or potentially at the end to Vapi, is not readable by Vapi, because if Vapi starts reading it, it's a lot of gibberish. We need to clean that up. How to do that is very simple. We need to add another AI agent node, or better, an LLM chain. What's an LLM chain? It's basic LLM chain is something that you can only do a prompt. It doesn't have this tool and so on. You add an OpenAI model to it, and then it can do things. There are a lot of content out there in the world about n8n that don't use AI agent for everything, use LLM chain and so on. Despite that, I don't like to follow that. I want to use AI agent for the flexibility of changing output, adding tools, adding memory, and so on. There is no big deal about using either or the other one. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to define something, which I'll do in a minute. I'll add an OpenAI chat model. And the output here is going to be the same structured output here, because this is the actual moment when I want to do the structured output. So I have to turn on the specified format, and then in the output structure, I have to give the example. This should be the example of what should be generated. Well, we can keep this example, this is fine. And then the prompt in here needs to be something like the following. Can you please create a very simple summary of the following JavaScript object? Make sure that this summary do not contain any new lines like /n or markdown or punctuations and so on. The reason is because this output needs to be read fluently by a text-to-speech model. So in here, we need to change it to expression. And then we basically, whatever information came back from Perplexity that makes sense to move it here, we'll move it there. So there were certain search results. They have title and URL and so on. This might be interesting for the summarization of the LLM. So we're going to move it. Again, you see that problem of object-object. Instead of like showing this Berlin events in June, it's showing object. And the solution for that is JSON.stringify. Wrap it with this. And then now you should see the actual Berlin events in Berlin in June and so on. So I'm going to give this information and one more information, which is the entire message. So I'll give it the entire choices, to be honest. This will also have this object-object problem, so we are going to do JSON.stringify around this. All right. We are done with that. If I execute this, it will give me a very clean output. Berlin is hosting multiple events in June 2025, blah, blah, blah. I want to add an important note to my prompt. Make sure that all the information or the important information in the provided context above is used in this summarization. Do not oversimplify this. So in my opinion, it oversimplified it, therefore it kind of lost its content. So that prompt should give it a little bit more context. Perfect. So it is now talking about these queer film and whatever. It's Berlin. It can have a lot of rainbow colors. Okay, so the Neukölln Festival and so on. So it's not oversimplifying it. Perfect. Now, if I connect this here and make sure that these mappings are properly done, this mapping is broken, so I'm gonna make sure that this goes right here. And if I test it, respond body, so something else is still broken. I'm gonna quickly put this 1, 2, 3 for now, just so that we can later on check it. Let me see, what's that? Respond body. Respond to webhook. Okay, so the respond to webhook has to be changed to here. That's correct. Invalid JSON. Okay, there is another invalid JSON. So let me quickly see. I see. The reason is because we removed the quotation marks from the previous one, which already had quotation marks inside it. Now we need to put quotation marks around this object so that it is a valid object. Otherwise, it won't be a valid object. Now it's fixed. Now, the moment of truth. If I send that information, if I send this information to this workflow, I'm expecting a very clean output, not this kind of a gibberish output. And this is not running, therefore it's giving this so-called 404. If you see this error, that means you need to click on that workflow running thing first and then run it. And it's running, perfect. Now after running this entire workflow, I should see a response here based on my query from Postman. And in a moment, we'll change Postman to Vapi, and then it should work just the same way. Perfect. We got exactly what we're looking for, but not the right tool call ID, which is the thing that we'll do from Vapi anyways. All right, so now is the time that we integrate this particular workflow to Vapi. So let's go to our Vapi dashboard. We already have the integration in place. The only thing I would like to do is I'd like to talk to it so that we get some data and then do the last.
Aemal, how are you?
I'm doing good. Can you please check what's happening in Berlin today?
Hold on a sec.
So this won't work. The reason it won't work is...
Sorry, a few more seconds.
No, take your time. I was not talking to you. Sorry.
Sorry, a few more seconds.
Sure. Thank you.
Sorry, a few more seconds. You're welcome. If you have any specific events or places in mind, let me know, and I'll help you.
So the reason it didn't work is because we are always sending this ID 123. Now what we need is the ID that came from the webhook here, this ID. If I replace this 123 to this one and run it one more time, let's go to our Vapi, start talking to it.
Hi, Aemal. How are you?
Good. Can you tell me what's the opening time of CIC Berlin?
This will just take a sec. CIC Berlin opens from Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to
So
7
basically
p.m.
now what we have done is we have created an integration between Vapi and n8n that has access to internet. It can go and ask questions from Perplexity, clean it up, and then put it back. And in the result, we learn how to use Postman to send requests, and we touched a few small concepts of web development like HTTP request response, how to structure outputs that goes to Vapi when the response of the n8n workflow is done. And also in the process, we learn a lot about n8n. This was a part of the workshop that I'm going to have in about 6 days. Enjoy this series. You can use this without any extra bells and whistles attached. It is totally designed in a way that you can use it without attending the workshop. But if you will attend the workshop live or in person, I'm looking forward to saying hi to you. Thank you.